update and our sports update, as well as economics news. Right now, let's talk about this. As screen time skyrockets across South Africa, mental health experts are raising serious red flags, especially when it comes to our children. According to the South African Society of Psychiatrists, or SASOP, excessive screen use is fueling a growing crisis among young people, leading to increased anxiety, depression, and even suicidal thoughts. Joining us now to unpack the dangers and offer some solutions is Professor Renata Schoeman, psychiatrist and member of SASOP and head of healthcare leadership at the Stellenbosch Business School. Professor Renata, thank you so much for joining us. How are you this Thursday?
Good morning. It's nice and chilly, but all good.
All good. South Africans are amongst the highest when it comes to users of or heavier screen users globally. Why is this a serious concern when it comes to our mental health, especially our children?
I think if we look at our children, adults have such an important role to play. We are the role models of what our children learn to do. And there's very clear evidence dating back to 2017 about the negative impact on mental health and cognitive functioning in both children and adults. But what more recent studies have shown, that children that spend more than 5 hours a day on screens are up to 70% more likely to have suicidal thoughts. And even if their screen time is 4 to 6 hours a day, it's more than double the risk for mental health disorders such as anxiety and depression than children that spend less than an hour to 2 hours per day.
What is behind the alarming connection between excessive screen time and anxiety and depression and even suicidal thought? Is it a matter of the content or the time spent in front of the screen?
There's actually various factors. The one is definitely the content. Obviously, watching an educational program or a program about nature has a different impact than watching shorts or the things that the children scroll the whole time, or social media where there is false comparisons with what they think real life is, because you only see the wonderful things in other people's life, but you do not see the real behind the scenes efforts, and then that social comparisons definitely have a negative impact. The second aspect is the time. So we know that there's clear guidelines also proven by research where we should try to adhere to and limit screen time according to a child's age. The younger, the less. But thirdly, there's also the neurobiological effects. We know that screen time, and that's the way that it's working, why we get addicted to it, has an impact on specifically also our dopaminergic systems, which is so important for attention and concentration and motivation. And if we're the whole time on screen, it actually decreases your own natural dopamine levels, which means you want more and more of it. And the fourth negative factor is the sedentary lifestyle associated with screens. Instead of playing outside or being active and exercise, children and adults are sedentary, and then we have the association with obesity, sleep problems, etc., and all of that contribute to the negative mental health impacts.
Right, and that touches, I guess, on the physical issues and the academic decline, which was going to be my next question. But you do mention that adults are the role models here. So many parents do struggle to set screen limits because they're also constantly online. They also need to switch off, so to speak, from the stressful things of life. How can they also set a better example without feeling hypocritical and also neglecting their own needs for downtime?
I think it's so important that downtime doesn't mean on-screen time. Downtime really also should mean digital detox and having real-life in-person conversations with your family and friends and being out in nature or exercising. But it can start with small changes, although there need to be clear rules in terms of a house, almost like a technological contract between parents and children. There can just be good role modeling as well. For example, never have a cell phone at a table during dinner or in a restaurant or at home. Also make sure that you charge your devices, for example, in a dedicated area such as the kitchen. Cell phones and other screens does not belong in a bedroom, not for adults and also not for children, because it does interfere and you think you're just quickly going to check the time and before you know you've checked your emails and so forth. So just making small changes, but then it's also important that we must know that for some children, it is a way of filling their time. They need to have other activities. So if you remove a screen, you have to replace it with something else, whether it's a game, whether it's a walk with your child. So we must remember that devices can never replace your role as a parent and the quality time you should be spending with your child.
Yeah, I struggle to the point of charging. That's a good one for me that I've just learned actually to implement, because my teenagers will charge their phones and they on their phones as they are charging them. And my thing is always, but how are you charging your phone and you're still on it? You using the battery while you're trying to replenish the battery. Can you take a break? So that one, having a central area in the house where it's set, this is where we charge our phones and we leave them there, that's a good one for me. But finally, Professor, with technology, I mean, being so embedded also in schooling life, we use it every day with homeschooling and things like that. It's more difficult for that balance. So how do we balance, and what does that balance actually look like in circumstances where we can't control it? My child is learning online.
Yeah, I think it's very important there also to use devices that you can use apps to monitor it. So there's a difference between academic use and social use. And we also understand that some people have online works, or you work on Excel spreadsheets or whatever. So we do not necessarily count that dedicated academic or occupational time as I want to say the dangerous screen time or the negative screen time. It's what you do outside of that. So gaming, social screen time, doom scrolling, etc. But if you work online, you should even be more removed from your devices. We try to encourage people, even if you work, that it shouldn't be more than 6 hours a day on screen, and that you still do some paperwork or desk work or deep dive. And in the same in the educational setting, there is ways that you can protect devices and only have the necessary programs and things that your child need. And then also remember, you can also switch off the data or the Wi-Fi. It's not always removing it, but making it a closed environment. I think some of the schools are really getting on board where they lock down into protective environments on the devices that the children use at school, that it's not free for all and they can't go on outside networks. Yeah. And I think that is a good strategy to protect our children, because we must know that there's also things that we don't want our children to be exposed to. But technology is important, it is embedded, it is a skill that we need. We don't want to increase the technological divide that there is, but we need to be better at monitoring it and also by leading by example.
Well, thank you so much, Professor Schoeman. We're going to leave it there for now. Enjoy your day.
Sure.
Professor Renata Schoeman is a psychiatrist and member of the South African Society of Psychiatrists. She's head of healthcare leadership at Stellenbosch Business School. 32 minutes past 7 Central African time. It's time for our